Um, what I want to mention, because I do think it's important and it impacts every American, the dollar. So I've brought up the dollar, right? About a million times on this show, okay, as the reserve currency of the world. And I'm going to keep bringing it up because it is becoming increasingly important that people understand our dollar, right,
Is
is the
shrinking.
petrodollar. It is what is used, and what holds our value is the idea that you can only buy oil with the dollar. You are now seeing more and more countries moving to the yuan to buy oil, okay?
That's
Right?
Chinese currency, for those who don't know.
Through BRICS, okay, which is a consortium of countries who buy oil. It's basically the Russian exchange, and then you go to the Russian exchange and you buy via the yuan. So no one country has control of the currency and the purchasing and sale of oil like the US does now. Okay? Japan, who is the largest holder of US debt, okay, has agreed to buy oil via the yuan. I cannot tell you how horrible that is for the US. Okay? That is absolutely terrible for the dollar. Okay? Because that means that Japan no longer has to hold its treasuries
Right.
if it's going to exchange in the yuan. It signals a shift in power in the world from the United States to China and Russia.
Yeah.
Okay? And as I've said, this has all been pre-planned for a long time. This was supposed to happen like 4 years ago. Like they wrote this back when Friedman did his Friedmanomics in the what was it, in the 70s? You know, when he did the whole trickle down economics, this is what they wanted at the end of the day, you know? And the whole investment and the whole thing with that was voted on regarding cryptocurrencies. And you can see it's Democrats and Republicans. This is what I mean by it's all theatrical. Okay? Because if the United States loses its reserve currency status, what then backs the dollar? Okay. How do we buy things? How do we, who are we beholden to? All these corporations have now merged. There are very few corporations you know, that own everything. Very few that own
Yeah.
everything.
Every
Okay.
every everything's a
So
monopoly
at the
now.
end of the day, if these corporations said, we're only going to accept from now on because the dollar's worthless, we're only going to accept Bitcoin. We're only going to accept this cryptocurrency. We're only going to accept Dodge currency, right? What does that mean? How are you going to be able to buy that? With what currency are you going to be able to buy that? If they're saying the dollar's worthless and they're not going to transact in it anymore, all of a sudden corporations own everything. Where are we as
Yeah.
individuals? What is our money worth?
Well, I think that's what's going on here, and they're accelerating it. And this is just my personal opinion here, um, because they're raiding the Treasury left and right,
Yes.
and I think they know that unless they can truly rig the midterms, they're going to lose power. So, what's the one thing that they can do between now and then? Is collapse our financial strength, raid as much as they can and leave nothing for us
But
financially.
that's what they're doing.
We talked about the how the dollar is shrinking. That has an impact on our national debt. And so each episode, we take a look at it. So let's see where we are today. And it just kind of ticks up day to day. So we're at 39 trillion, 39 trillion, 7 billion. So it's been jumping about $1 to $2 billion a day.
And what are
And
we at for individual?
it's at, yeah, I know, it's so tiny. It's $114,290 per person.
Okay.
And I
So it
believe,
went up.
yep.
You could submit your $114,000 to the United States Treasury, care of Donald Trump. I'm sure he'll take good care of your money.
Yeah.
And he will expect that in the next week.
Yeah, to go and pay off the debt. And it's funny, you made an interesting point about the 93 billion that Kegsbreath used, which was the balance of the fiscal year, the budget.
Right.
And, you could have rolled it forward, you could have done a lot of things with it. You could have taken that 93 billion and applied it to the national debt, but no, they spent it on,
You could have
steak and crab.
put it back in the Treasury, right? This idea that you need to spend money, otherwise you lose it. For the DOD, it's bullshit, right? The DOD every year has gone up in their budget. Their budget has never come down because every time you talk about reducing their budget, everybody talks that the cuts have to come with the troops, which is complete and utter bullshit. Okay? Right? We are seeing with the war in Iran, right? The fact that we are wholly unprepared for a war like this. Okay?
Yes.
That's being fought in this way, right? We did not change, right, from our Cold War mentality. Okay? So all that money that we've been spending on defense is going to garbage. It's going to contractors who've wasted our money. They're spending drone for $30,000 to $50,000 for drones that we paid $150,000 for, right?
Mhm.
So this needs to stop. This bullshit needs to stop. Your 30% of all the money that's given to defense contractors goes towards profit. Profit.
Yes. Yes.
That's it. I'm sick and tired of this bullshit that you can't fucking cut. Enough's enough, right? We had Doge come in, they eliminated USAID, but then they're going out and buying for $93 billion. They could have funded USAID.
Hello. But that wasn't what they wanted. Destroying USAID has a lot more to do with isolation than it does with saving money. I think
Yeah,
because
because
we had, it it
right,
it it affects the dollar and it affects our soft power throughout the world.
this is as I've been saying, this is a corporate private equity takeover of the United States, without a doubt. Without a doubt, I will keep saying it until the day they drag me off into one of their concentration camps.
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that.